What's going on? It's SFT. We're talking about the Lions today. Like and subscribe, mainly subscribe because I kind of need these subscriptions. And let's get into the video. The Lions have had an interesting journey the last 3 to 4 years. I'm a close follower of the NFL, so I would know. I remember watching them 3-13, struggling absolutely offensively, getting smacked up week in, week out, some of the more embarrassing losses I remember seeing from the Lions. And I think that was about 4 years ago. And then we get into 3 years ago, around 2022, I have right here, 9-8. Finally finished with a positive record after 4 seasons, man. I got that right here, man. 4 damn seasons. It takes them 4 damn seasons to get a positive record. They're finally 9-8. Huge win at Green Bay. Huge win at Green Bay, man. Couldn't believe it. To knock Green Bay out the playoffs and to send the Seattle Seahawks, I think, to the playoffs to play against the 49ers. This Detroit Lions team, quality wins that year, and they lost a lot of close football games. It should have been better. They actually had a run towards the second half of that year to finishing that positive record. The coach said, we are a better football team than this, what our record shows, and he showed that. Last year, 13-3. Major year for the Detroit Lions. Quality wins, running through certain teams, dominating the NFC North. A lot of good wins. I was extremely impressed with them last year. I don't know why there's haters for them. It's always a weird thing about the Detroit Lions. Like, how can you hate on the Detroit Lions? They're the Detroit Lions. They've been through it. They've been through the trenches. They've been getting smacked up week in, week out, the epitome of a bad franchise. How could you not look at Detroit Lions and say, this is what dreams are made of as a football team? Everybody wants their football team to be like the Detroit Lions. Build it up, and then eventually reach that final mark. Reach a mark where you can say, we're a Super Bowl contending team and we can win the Super Bowl. We should be Super Bowl favorites this year. That's what you want to say. Last year, they in my opinion, man, they find a way to choke that NFC championship game in San Francisco. And then we get it to this year. Currently, right now, sitting 12-2. Just lost last week to the Bills. To me, it wasn't the worst loss. They're dealing with a lot of injuries on defense. We're going to get to that after, but they couldn't stop Josh Allen, the Bills' offense. I'm going to make an exception for this. It's not something that they got exposed for. No, it was just one of those days at home. You can't stop. You're struggling on defense. Your defensive coordinator overall has been very good. I've been very impressed with how your defense has produced. In terms of statistically, they are the 14th ranked defense. It doesn't look the best, yes, but a lot of those yards are given after they've blown teams out, after they beat up on teams. Really, that's the truth, man. A lot of these yardage, they are putting it on teams and then they somewhat push back later on inside the game. It makes this defense look like they played bad. But if you look at the last game against the Bears, where the Lions absolutely dominating that first half, I think they only gave up 1 first down. That second half, a little bit of a collapse, but that Lions offense should have put the game away. Should have put the game away by half. Either way, they ended up winning that game, obviously, off a terrible decision by the Bears. But while they have dealt with a lot of injuries, yes, but if you look at their identity, elite offensive line, elite, one of the best offensive line in the game, elite receiving core, elite running back core, elite quarterback, elite offensive coordinator, man. You look at that offensive side, their offense is the second best offense in the National Football League, right behind the Baltimore Ravens. They have everything to be proud of. They have the NFC North in their hand, and not just that, man. They have the NFC in their hand. The NFC should be running through Detroit Lions if they take care of business the next couple of weeks. They have some quality wins already. They beat the Minnesota Vikings in quality fashion in Minnesota. They beat the Green Bay Packers twice in quality fashion. I've been so impressed with them. This is what I mean by a team that looks like a championship level team. There's teams like the 49ers, man, who've been outright disappointing, flagrantly disappointing. The Jacksonville Jaguars, who haven't been able to take that next step. This next step, most teams don't take. There's an assumption that they're going to be better next year. A lot of teams, man, they peak. You know what their coach said after they lost that NFC Championship game? This might be the farthest we ever get. Is to send a message to those players and say, don't take this opportunity for granted. We might not be here next year. And if you look at the rest of the season, they have the Bears, 49ers, the Vikings. Bears, they should roll over the Bears. 49ers on Monday Night Football. 49ers, man. So they're going to get exercised that day. My condolences. And then you have the Vikings. That's going to be in Detroit. That's going to be a major game. It's going to decide the division potentially. I don't know if it will decide the division, but expecting that it is going to decide the division, wow, we're going to have a banger of a game. And I want to talk about not just the offensive side of the ball. Defensively, they've gone significantly better, but they've dealt with so many injuries. You look at their defense right now, their starting linebacker injured, the third string linebacker injured, fourth string linebacker injured. So they're playing second string linebacker and maybe a reserve, a fifth string linebacker to just take it off the practice squad. CB1's injured, CB3's injured, CB5's injured, CB4's injured. So they have only one corner available. They have to take two from the practice squad, right? You're wondering why the Bills were running rampant on your defense. Why you can't get stops. You can't get stops because your defense is just injured, man. You have your starting nickel is injured. You have 4 to 6 rotational. Oh my lord. You're missing your superstar edge rusher in Aiden Hutchinson. You're missing your next best edge rusher. You're missing your defensive tackle. I believe he was number 54. That has played phenomenally this year. I was so impressed with him against the Colts, the way he was manhandling them. My God, what a great player. You're missing him, so you're missing 3 star guys on your defensive line, 3 out of 4, okay? You're missing pretty much 70% of your defense right there. 70% of your defense is gone. Defensive coordinator too. Mainly defensive coordinator, I'd say. You're not doing a great job. You're not able to execute your game plan. When you're missing the guys who get the most reps, when you're missing the guys who make your game plan, when you suit your game plan to those players, and they're supposed to be maximizing that strategy, you don't have those same players. So I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't know what they're gonna do, man. They're in for a world of trouble if their defense cannot get back healthy. I know a lot of guys are gonna be coming back maybe in 2 weeks around then for playoff time, so maybe they can hit form for their defense. But that's probably why you looked at that Bills game and said, man, the Bills are running rampant. Josh Allen looks like, I had never seen the quarterback that looked that dominant that game. He looked amazing off the scramble. The ball he was throwing, the play calling was great. I think his name is Joe Brady. Hell of a job, man. I'm a Dolphins fan. I hate the Bills, but I gotta give Joe Brady nothing but respect. The job he's done as the offense coordinator for the Bills has been absolutely sensational. Sensational. The way he's been able to run the football, the way he's been able to carve up plays to get guys wide open. There was a large amount of chunk plays left on that field. I'm very impressed with the offensive coordinator for the Bills, and that's what they did against the Detroit Lions. But if you look at the Detroit Lions, your guys get back a little bit healthy come playoff time. Who could stop you? Who could stop you? That offense still looked good. It started off slow, yes, but it looked good. Who's going to stop this team when people come back healthy? At least I would say maybe 90% of their team is healthy. They're going into that playoff, and they're this force that's pushing into the playoffs. I expect them personally to win the Super Bowl. They're my Super Bowl favorite. This team, as long as they can get a little more healthier, a little bit. I'm not asking for a significant amount of just most of the 95% of the defense to get back. No, they just need 75%. If they can get 75% of their defense back, this team is a Super Bowl team, period. Anyways, that's it for the video. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe. Take care. Peace.